Because this government does not have a plan. This NDC government does not have a plan. It is like their victory took them by surprise. John Mahama's victory took him by surprise. They reached a fee. And as I'm speaking to you now, I don't know how it happened. The same computer has given here another message to a different girl's school, grade A, with like grade 20. The same computer that refused her for those schools, which says that she doesn't qualify and that she should do self-placement with some grade D schools. After a fee was agreed, the same computer has placed her in a category A school, a girls' school in Kumasi. This is a direct person I know, a young girl I know. She has stayed with me before. When she was growing up, I know her very well. So how can't we also say that some of these things happen so that people could benefit? Like I said, this is not the first time it's happening. Some happened under Akufo-Addo's government, but the numbers today is so much. Like these numbers are very, very much more than those I saw in Akufo-Addo's government. And Akufo-Addo's government was not about day and boarding. It was basically about they not receiving placement at all or getting the schools they didn't want. But today it's about day and boarding. Day and boarding. So fast. I think that going for it, okay, if we really, really want to keep this situation, it's not like we cannot solve it all. It's only about willingness. It is not because they cannot solve the situation. It is only about willingness. I am not willing to assist the security to keep any corruption or bribery. Those at the top knows what they are doing, because people at the top are those who placed the people over there. So if they want to fix it, they should find the systems that to keep all these things. Because if the person who passed, see, there was a woman at Osu. This woman, I know her. She used to join my life. The child has grade 7. Grade 7. And Accra and some schools in Accra here, so Thomas Aquinas and all that. She did the woman's child with grade 7 did not get general arts, okay, in any of the schools. And she had they told the guy to do self-placement with grade 7. The woman is frustrated because grade 7 could not get Aquinas, could not get Accra, and any of the schools that he selected with grade 7. Now, they told him to do self-placement, and the schools that was given to him made available, all of them are in the Bono region. And the options are there. The options are there. So if a parent like this is agitated, how do we blame them for the mess that is going on? Majority, about 80% is a systemic failure. And if all they want to fix it, they can fix it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for your submission. And this is Fast on Fact. Tonight, our spotlight is on the Ministry of Education. I can see a lot of you are dropping because we are talking about education. But I think this is so much important that I don't really care about the numbers today, because let's just have a conversation to tackle a problem. So I wish to welcome you once again, and please do all to stay with us, and let's see you share the live session to at least 5 people. Keep on tapping on your screens and keep on engaging on the platform. Thank you so much for joining in. Now let me welcome Mr. Freeman into the conversation. What do you make of this?
Okay, thank you, Fact, for the opportunity given to me. Welcome to this program tonight, and thank you, viewers, for listening to us. You know, I like the fact that you stated emphatically that you don't really care about the viewers. Yeah. This is the first time,
but he's very unbiased.
Oh, no. This is the first time Anonymous has been clear. You know, he sounded like an unpatriotic, like a patriotic citizen of Ghana who is willing to look at things for the betterment of the citizen. Let me go on with this conversation about education. First of all, I would like to acknowledge this issue to be, in your editorial, you made mention of something very important to me. I pay attention to your editorial. There are so much information from what you say. Aside the research we do before we come on these kind of big platforms to speak, you don't know who is listening to you. You have to make sure you state what is right. Moreover, in your editorial, you made mention of about leaders, our leaders that have to look at this issue to be a broad issue, to be something that will be beyond our interests as politicians, to be something that will be looked at as, something that we wanted to benefit our children and their children to come. Because if we are looking at this and in a picture of politics and interest, then we are going to fail. And education is a component, a very important component of every economy in the whole world, not Ghana alone. So if we are serious as a country and our leaders are very serious in what they say every day, trying to move Ghana forward, they should not politicize, if anything at all, not education. Education is the backbone of every country and every economy. Without education, they wouldn't have been where they are today to become our leaders, which is a fact. So at least this is something that they should look beyond politics and make it clear to our people and our children that are coming. And one thing that you said, which is very important, is like our parents trying to maneuver the system to put their children at where they wish their children should be. Like you made a statement saying that a parent might attend a school like, let's say, Infantipim or something. He wants his child to also go to Infantipim, so he wants to see a way or a protocol that he can manipulate the system to get his child there, which is very bad. It's not compulsory. It's not something that should be a force to your child to have the same education or area that you had your education to. These are the things that compromises on the quality of education that we have. We should really look at these things. You understand me? And then the sneaking of rich parents, which you talked about. The parent thinks he's rich. He doesn't care whether aggregate 40, aggregate whatever. He really wants his children to attend, let's say, pre-sec. So he will find his way through somebody that he knows, as we know in Ghana, pay much money. I'm not politicizing this. And then, find his way through, because that's where he thinks his child should belong, because he's rich enough. These are bad things that spoil the quality of education that we have. It should be taken very seriously. I like to acknowledge the fact that the minister said categorically on Joy News that he is not going to compromise, or he is not going to allow the system to interfere in anybody's placement. If you have aggregate 37, he even said he will not accept a certain aggregate. He was talking of aggregate 37 or so. I don't know. But he said he will not allow those aggregates to penetrate, which is a good point that he made. These are the things that we have to set boundaries, so that the kids will know that no, where we are heading to today, these are the boundaries, and these are the things that we cannot overcome. We have to learn, and it will push them way forward to learn more. You understand? So we have to really make sure we look at these things and make sure we implement them. This issue about education is not about NDC, NPP matter. There are a lot of things that Anonymous said, and I agree with him. It's about things that are happening in Akufo-Addo's time and things that are happening now. For instance, let me tell you something about a statement that was issued on the 23rd. On the 18th of September by the Ghana Education Service.
All right.
On their page is there. 564,000 has been resolved, which is issue about placement in senior high and technical schools. They are working on it. These are things that we have to look at. Despite criticizing them for being slow, making things to, be loud in their government, they are also working. We have to acknowledge that fact. I saw comments that I don't want to mention here, talking about how they do is not capable of handling. No, in 9 months, you can't tell any government or any minister that he's not capable. Of course, he's studying what he came to meet. There are a lot of things that he needs to study You cannot just come and then you bring out what principle you have and overshadow what you came to meet. There are lot of things that you have to listen to the people that you met there. There are administrators, there are a lot of people that were into the education system before you came as a minister. So you have to listen to them first. If that their approach does not work, then you bring out whatever you thought is going to work for the ministry. I think that is what Arun Idrisu is doing. You can't look at somebody that's as big as Arun Idrisu, intellectual as him, a lawyer in the matter, and say that he is doing something of his choice. That is a very bad statement, and I will not encourage anybody to talk about that tonight. Let's be serious as a country. Let's talk about things that will benefit us. The previous Mahama government, they said before they came to power, they already advertised on progressive free SHS. They said it is possible, but it should be progressive. So if today we are here talking about the number of people, if the government is trying to persuade the people because of the number of borders are too much and he's making people day student, we should go back to the books and look at what Mahama said. That was way back 2014, 2015. When the campaign about free education was made, what did he say? He said it is possible, but it should be progressive. Progressive because he's building the e-schools. Progressive because today we have the STEM schools. If we had that enough, this issue about challenges on bordering schools would not be a challenge today. It would have been a thing of the past. He made mention of these things. He wanted these things not to happen. He foresaw this kind of challenges. That's why he said it should be progressive. But along the line, today he met it already implemented, and he already campaigned about it that he's going to continue. He's of course continuing.
But
You
that's
know,
while administration was still allowing more borders in our schools.
that is why that time you saw videos out.
And are you making any admission that the government is intentionally reducing the numbers of borders and trying to place more students as they?
I
And
disagree.
even without
I
considering the
disagree.
fact that they are unfamiliar with certain environments they intend to place them, and
I
bearing in
disagree.
mind that these are children who are just between the ages of 14 to 15 or 16.
Fact. There is category A school at a certain area that you don't like to belong, which might be in the north, south, or Volta.
Most of the real issues that has to do
Because
with
maybe you were
day
born in
students.
East.
You see, it's just the day to boarding status. I think most of the parents are concerned about that. They are not really bothered about the fact that their wards are placed in maybe Western North region. But when you listen to most of the interviews, their real issues is about the day, like their status as students is now a day student, which technically means parents should now look for accommodation for their wards. And that is what the bone of contention is. I think that none of the parents have really spoken about the fact that my ward is placed in or was placed in a school in Western region and the person is a board. I'm not sure we've heard a lot more of that. If there's any, I've not heard of it. But most of the parents are concerned about the fact that their wards are being asked to be day students in another region, probably where the parents have not even visited before. These are the real issues.
Fact. You see, saying talking about this, and I'll still go back on the the government in the system. Although it has a president that is already with experience, but the government itself and its machinery is a virgin government. It's working on things that it came to meet,
So are you
are
by
very
me
new to it.
saying that the government is doing some trial and error with our education until it gets to learn on the job? Is that
I
what you're
didn't say,
saying?
I did not say that. I'm saying that the government came to meet principles and strategies and kind of things that were said before it came to power. It admitted that I'm going to continue with the process. So if we're allowing the government to continue with the process as it says, then we should look at the merit and the demerit in the same course. If the government is able to solve
Wouldn't
certain
you
cases,
agree?
as is
Wouldn't you
stated on its
agree?
platform at the Ministry of Education, it says which is 76% of the cases has been resolved. So 14% shouldn't be a matter. I'm trying to be apolitical.
Yes,
Apolitical,
this
if you would
conversation
like.
is indeed
In this
apolitical, but
conversation, it's apolitical. I'm not trying to back whoever. Nanado did well. Educhum did well in education. We are not politicizing. I'm trying to be
see
apolitical.
where the real issue is not coming from is when you say this is a virgin government. The Minister of Education and GES is not working in isolation. All right? everyone, like every teacher and every technocrat or every worker of the GES probably have been there for over 5 years, 3 years, 7 years, down to about 15, 20, even some maybe 25 years. You understand? So these technocrats comes to the table with a lot of experience. So it is my expectation that we'll have the minister at least engage these technocrats to understand how these problems.
See, in fact, part of the measures that this government has put in place that he has overseen that is going to be a problem was the abolishment of the double track system. If you bear with me on that. You see, the government is still emphasizing that it's going to abolish the double track system. Do you know why? Because it's a system that is easily to maneuver the kind of chances that students have to stay at where they are. These are issues that are critical. I'm trying as much as possible to be apolitical. I've said this. But if you look at what is
You have
going on, it
overemphasized
is,
that point though.
yes, I'm saying that so that Anonymous will understand me and then it's likes. The voice is here. I don't want him to come in his submission to say that maybe I said that and that. I'm trying as much as possible to be a patriotic citizen. We are looking at the merit that will benefit the children of Ghana. Look at what he has done tonight and look at what is going on. In the phrases that has been produced by the Ministry of Education, I said something about replacement. If you go back on their page right now as I'm speaking, you could see the numbers that and the figures they are talking about. They stated that the change of school is something that is very critical since they were in opposition. And today, look at what is going on. They are changing it. 76% is a huge number. 14% is not small. At least they should do better because they still have time. That is what I would say. They should still do better. 14%, even if it is 1%, they are Ghanaians.
Okay.
By the law of by the Constitution of Ghana, let me state emphatically, right? The Articles 25 in the Constitution of Ghana state that every child needs a freedom to education, the right to education, and then the right to, be at where he's supposed to be when he has the better grades. But I said something.
Glare. She said the majority of the problems were coming from the parents and the student, and that some of them was about changes. The little challenge they had, some of the issues have been resolved. So for me, when City FM also interviewed Kofi Asare also reiterated the problem, the same issue. And I'm stating why, and I'm going to explain why majority of it. Students have been given opportunity to choose 7 schools. Out of the 7 schools they are supposed to choose, some of them may choose some of their schools, first choice, second choice in Accra. Majority of them may place their third and fourth or fifth school in a different region, hoping that they would get their first or second or third choice.
You see, for that, it's actually a convention. I don't know if it's law because even at in our time, we were told to select schools in other regions as well. I think my school did.
Exactly. So for the student or the parents who is choosing those schools, they are choosing those schools in that chronological order because they believe that their child may get first, second, knowing the capacity of the child. Now, this is where it becomes a bit murkier. For every school, their quota they pick for science schools. So if somebody has 415 and another person has 403, the 403 may be picked because it's not because he had a lesser staff. Maybe that 403 might have chose day and the 400 and something may have chose boarding. Another issue might be because of the program. Somebody sent Bernard Avle his results live on air, and the person had 430, 400 and is it 50 something, and somebody had 430 and had Wesley Girls. The lady who had 450 something chose science, and the lady who had 430 something chose general act. You and I can tell that some of the courses in some of the secondary schools, there are some cutoff point. So in the whole Ghana, if everybody is choosing Wesley Girls and their cutoff point, and that cutoff point is done, where do you expect the the system to put you? Because when they look at your second choice also pay the grade may probably not put you over there. But because there are regions that you've chosen outside the country, the system might place you outside the region, and you cannot blame the system and say it is government. It is because they use, and I think I liked how the lady said. He said it is more of like, when you go on your when you go on your TikTok, there's this thing they call, is it logarithm or something, something.
Algorithm.
Correct, exactly. So the system, yes, the system may not be perfect. That is why I score 86%. When I was in primary, when I was writing my BCE, we had to, I was very careful. I had a dream of being a medical doctor, but I understood my limit because I was very good in mathematics. I chose St. Peter's, Kwewun Kwetia. I chose business as my first choice. I didn't choose science. I had 9 and I got it. Somebody may have not gotten, may not get St. Peter's because probably was going to do science. Because the number of people who have been brought over there might be different. So if the system has given you opportunity to choose regions and other stuff, how do you blame them? And let's be fact. Some of the people who came over there, when you heard them on radio and some of them I have listened to some of them. Somebody said, Mebano, Yemanu way na yempe school no wa.
Language.
Somebody said the school is very far, so he doesn't like it. But among all the schools you chose and the grade you had, what school do you want them to give you per? Because you've chosen some in other regions. So it is eventually the system of what you've chosen. I admit that there may be problems within other percentage of government, but largely, and I like the education Anonymous gave, and he was like, in the past, they were you would have to go and search for your school and other stuff. Because they realized that there was a problem with such system. And so the MPP government introduced the computerized system. That was a fantastic system. And I don't think that the people who are challenging this within MPP, if we are supposed to do the results after when the results comes, and we are supposed to do this one, I can tell you on an authority, if you've studied Ghanaians, if you're talking of decentralization, fact, we have decentralization system in this country, but what do we still see? We have decentralization system in, you see, you must be able to, there's something we call human behavior. You can study human behavior within a geographical area for a very longer time. It doesn't matter whether government changes or not. There are people who you can't do anything about them because that is their lifestyle. If the results are supposed to come before they choose schools, we will still get some of these issues. I'm not a prophet of doom, because if you look at the Ghanaian system, like that system, right, majority of the people, like, you can't really get it. And that is why I believe that majority of the problems are some of the parents. Because, see, let's be real, you know that your daughter probably is not putting up her weight. You want to go and choose Wesley Girls for her. Fine, Wesley Girls is a good school. But what grade do you wanted to get into Wesley Girls? And that is why I felt that you should have listened to the technocrats at the Ministry of Dr. Glover. You would have